Let's talk about the present simple tense. And I know, you might think it's just basic grammar, but trust me, it's so much more than that. This is the tense we use to talk about the world as it is, the solid facts, our daily habits, and the big truths that make up our reality. Let's dive in and really master it.
So here's our game plan. First, we'll get to the heart of what this tense is all about. Then we'll cover the exact situations where you need to use it and how to actually build the sentences. After that, we'll look at some common mistakes so you can avoid them. And finally, we'll put it all into practice.
So, what's the big idea here? Well, at its core, the present simple is all about stability. It's the tense you grab when you're talking about things that are consistent, that are generally true, that are, well, permanent. Think of it like this. If you're talking about a scientific fact, a routine you never break, or a situation that just doesn't change much, the present simple is your go-to. It's how you signal that what you're saying is reliable and constant. Okay, so we know it's all about stability, but where do you actually use it? Let's break down the four main situations where the present simple is absolutely essential. Once you get these down, it'll become totally second nature. First up, and this is probably the one you use the most, habits. We're talking about all your daily, weekly, yearly routines, the things you do over and over again. You know, your morning coffee, the way you walk to work, that show you watch every Tuesday. That is classic present simple territory. And check out this example sentence. I often take my neighbor's dog for a walk. See that word often? That is a huge clue. It's a dead giveaway that we are talking about something that happens again and again, a habit. All right, next up, we use it for straight-up facts. These are the things about our world that are just true. They were true yesterday, they're true today, and they'll be true tomorrow. We're talking science, geography, just general knowledge. And this is a perfect example. Water freezes at 0 degrees C. This isn't an opinion, right? It's not something that's only true for today. It's a law of physics. It's a permanent, undeniable truth. And for those, you always use the present simple.
Okay, our third use case is all about those more permanent states of being. This isn't just about what you do, it's about who you are or where you are. Stuff like where you live, what you do for a living, or your relationships.
So in this sentence, Katie doesn't live with her parents. We're describing her long-term living situation. It's not about a short visit. It's a semi-permanent fact about her life. And the present simple just captures that feeling of stability perfectly. All right, now this next one is kinda weird and it trips a lot of people up. We actually use the present simple to talk about the future. I know. But it's only when a future event is so certain and so fixed on a schedule that it basically feels like a fact. This is a great example of what I mean. The film doesn't start until 7 o'clock. Why use the present simple? Because that start time is set in stone. It's on a timetable, which makes it a fact. It's the same reason we say the train leaves at 8 or the meeting begins at 9.
All right, so now that we know when to use it, let's talk about how to actually put a sentence together. And the good news is, the basic formula is really, really simple.
Okay, this little chart here basically shows you everything you need to know. For I, you, we, and they, you just use the verb as is. Super simple. The only one you gotta watch out for is the third person, he, she, and it. That's where you usually add an S, and you always use does for your negatives and questions. Okay, let's get into some of the nitty-gritty details. Getting these right will really level up your English and make you sound like a pro. So that little S we add for he, she, it has a couple of tiny spelling rules. Basically, if the verb ends in a hissing sound like ch or sh, you add es, just because it's easier to say. Think wash becomes washes. And then there's the Y rule. If there's a consonant before the Y, like in study, it becomes studies. Easy enough, right? Okay, this is probably the biggest mix-up people have. Present simple versus present continuous. Here's the deal. Present simple is for the routine, the general truth. Present continuous is for what's happening right now, and it's often a little different from the routine. So, my grandmother always makes a cake. That's the rule. But today, she's making biscuits. That's the exception. See the difference? And that brings us to a special group of verbs. They're called stative verbs. And the easiest way to think about them is that they're for being, not doing. They describe states, like your senses, thoughts, or emotions. And because they aren't actions, we almost never use them with that ing ending. Just look at this list. You wouldn't say, I am knowing the answer, would you? No way, you say, I know. It's a state of being. Same with emotions. You love pizza, you aren't loving pizza. These verbs describe a condition, so even if you're feeling it right now, you stick with the simple form. I understand, not I am understanding. Okay, enough talk. Let's see if you got this. Time to put it all together with a couple of quick questions. Ready? All right, first one up. Take a look. The subject is my brother, and it's a habit, twice a week. What's the right form of go here? If you said goes, you are absolutely right. My brother is a he, so we need that third person ending. And because go ends in an O, we add ES. Perfect! Let's try a negative one. The subject is we, and we're talking about a routine. How do we make this negative? And there it is, don't get up. For we, the negative helper verb is do not, which, let's be real, we almost always squish together to make don't. You nailed it.
So, to wrap this all up, I've got a final question for you. Think about it. What's one simple, true thing about your life? A habit, a fact, a preference. I live in, I love, I work as. When you answer that, you're not just doing a grammar exercise. You're using the tense of truths to describe your own reality. Pretty cool, right? Thanks for tuning in.